So in this video, I'm going to show you how to fill out this table and calculate all your nutrition facts. So you'll need to open up these two links, the spreadsheet and the database. They look like this. Here's the spreadsheet, and here is the database. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to read these red directions. So first, don't change any of these gray cells. You'll see there's lots of them. Each of these cells has a formula in them or some information I've entered that helps with the calculations. If you change them, it will not work. And then second, you want to start right here. This is easy to forget, but really important number. So the first thing you have to figure out is how much ounces you made of this smoothie. That's going to be back on your ingredients master list. So I made 16 ounces, so I'm going to put that in right here. And then I move on to these colored cells, and I'm going to enter in each individual ingredient. Now these are ingredients that did not have a nutrition facts label, so if I go back over here to my master list, that would be, the first one would be red grapes. So I'm going to put in red grapes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter in the amount of nutrients in those red grapes. I'll do that for all the ingredients, and then we'll just sum them up to figure out the total number of nutrients in your smoothie. But because red grapes don't have a nutrition label, how do I figure out how much fat and cholesterol and sodium that it has? For that, we're going to use this database. So if you go to this database, it looks like this. You type in the ingredient you're looking for, and usually a lot of things will come up. You have to find which one you're going to select. And here, there's not necessarily always one perfect answer, but instead you use your judgment. So I'm going to look through here. Obviously, some products are not the thing I'm looking for. I'm not looking for grape juice. And then sometimes you'll see red grapes, but they'll be from specific companies. I didn't get one from a company. So I'm going to end up using this one down here. This is just raw grapes, and were red or green, which is what I selected. So once I select this one, what's really important is you look at this number. This is sort of its database number. It's called the NDB, and you enter it right here, 9132. This is important so that later on when we fact check your work, we can look at the exact food item that you looked up in the database. The next important step is here it shows you all of the data, but it's for 100 grams of grapes, but I didn't use 100 grams. So I go back to my master list. I used 45 grams, so I have to enter that here. So I'm going to change this so that this value is scaled for what I'm looking for. And now I'm just going to copy the information over. So there are 31 calories of energy in here. So here for the kilocalories, I type in 31. For total fat, there was 0.07. For saturated fat, you have to scroll through these to find your minutes. So if I go all the way down, I'll see total saturated fatty acids. That's the same thing, 0.024. 0.024, etc., etc. So you will just go through and copy all this information for the ingredient and then go and do the next ingredient. Now, after those, I want to show you this orange side. So this is for foods that do have a nutrition fact label. We can calculate a little differently. So if I come over here, these foods did have that nutrition fact, so I'm going to put those in the orange. So this is brown cow whole milk plain yogurt. And then what is the serving size? So for that, I actually have to look at the nutrition facts. So these are pretty easy to find online, or if you have the product, you can just look at them. So here's the product, here's the nutrition facts. And what it says is the serving size is 1 container. So I have to figure out how much is in a container. So if you go to the actual container, you'll see that this thing has 150 grams. So that's what I'm going to enter in. So it's 150. Do not type in any letters. So you don't write G or grams. That's going to mess up the calculations. You can only do numbers. And the next thing I have to figure out is how much I used. So go back to my master list. I used 87 grams of this. These units have to match, so if you didn't use 87 grams, if it was like, 0.2 pounds or something, you have to convert it so these two units are the same. Otherwise, the calculator won't be able to scale everything. And then we just enter in the information from the nutrition facts. So if I go back here, there's 130 calories. So I type in 130. The total amount of fat is going to be 7 grams, etc., etc. So you just type in all that information, and eventually when it's all done, it would look something like this. This is that recipe with all the ingredients entered. I've copied in all the data for both the label and the no label. And once it's complete, then I click over down here for my final label tab, and it'll show me all of the data, just like it looks like in your food items. It'll tell you how much if each item there is in mass, and also the percent of your daily value. And this is the data that you now go back and copy into your prototype packet.